Lando, thank you so much for making the time to join us ahead of tonight's race. 2020 has kicked off with a bit of a twist for everybody, but especially for you. You've been propelled as the star of eRacing.
Yeah, thank you. I guess it's a good thing in a lot of ways. I've been involved in e-racing and I've been playing on my simulator for years. But really, over the last month, 2 months, I would say it's because of the situation we're in. Um, it's kind of forced a lot more people to take an interest into e-racing and esports of all kinds. And yeah, it's also allowed a lot more drivers like myself, a lot of other F1 drivers, and just drivers from all different categories around the world to kind of come together, race each other, and have a lot of fun and put on a bit of a show because we can't do it on the real track. But at the same time, uh, I have been doing it already for several years. So to kind of, I don't want to say I'm leading it because then I don't know, make me sound like I'm boasting in some ways. But uh, I've been trying and actively involved in esports to kind of try and push it forwards and give it exposure and something, especially for motorsports, because you don't see as much of that on it. So to see it grow as much as it has done over the last month and 2 months is really cool to see.
And I guess for you, in some respects, people are seeing this as gaming. Like you've said in that last answer, you've been playing on your sim. But I think it's more than playing on a sim. This has become actually what many people don't understand is a crucial part, especially during these isolation times, of you continuing to push your skill and honing your craft. But also for some of the younger drivers coming through junior programs, they're not allowed near the real race car until they've proven themselves in the sim, which is something you can relate to, having come into Formula One more recently.
I can, and I've used the sim not only to have fun and to play on, but I've used it to help me prepare for each category that I've gone into. So ever since karting, pretty much, so 6-7 years ago, I've used it a lot every year to help me progress into the next category above, and especially when you have some categories that you can't go and test in as much as you want. You can only really revert back to a simulator like now. So I use them instead of just using them as fun and playing games and whatever. I use it to help me improve my driving. And, I use my engineer from F1 last year to come on and we look at data together and we go through things. And a lot of the traits that I have on the actual racetrack, I have on the simulator and vice versa. And they relate back to each other very well. So if I want to improve some things in my driving, if I can improve it on the simulator, then a lot of the time I can also relay it back to the track and help myself improve on the actual racetrack. So it isn't just for playing; it is very useful for helping a driver or even me in Formula One to still try and become better and still try and work on things and work on my braking and techniques and feedback and so on. It is becoming much bigger, and then I guess if you look all the way up to the top, like the races now at times with IndyCar and F1, then a lot more sponsors are getting involved. It's all over the world now, so it's not just a game. It's not just helping yourself improve, but it's also becoming something much more where partners are getting involved, and you can get publicity out of it, and you get sponsors and so on. So it's being used for a whole lot of different variations at the moment.
I also noticed behind you your helmets, and I understand you donated a replica to Colonel Tom Moore during these times.
It wasn't even a replica. It was the one. Like, these are my pride possessions. These are I got a couple more down here. This is like the one thing that I really get to keep and remember races by. And I'm lucky that Bell, so this is a Bell helmet, but they allow me to pretty much use one new helmet for every single race weekend of the whole year.
Wow.
And obviously I try and dedicate the helmet in some way, design and text to that one specific race. So like this one was Mexico. Obviously got the skull on the back, some nice floral patterns, nice colors. But it's my little thing to remember each race by. And I have one helmet for, this one was pre-season testing. This one was for the Monza race last year in Italy with Valentino Rossi. This one obviously Mexico. yeah, my one that I gave to Colonel Tom Moore was the one that I was going to use in Australia this year, and obviously Australia didn't go forward. But I never got to use it. So it was the one that was very special because it was my first one for 2020, my first one in my second season of Formula One. One of a kind. It was only that one which was painted for Australia. But obviously I gave it to someone who did something very good for our country and raised so much money for the NHS and so on. So he deserved it more than I wanted to keep it, basically.
Beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you for doing that as well. It's lovely to be able to give back to somebody else who's given so much to us as well in the UK.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Listen, before we let you go, perhaps talk us around your sim. Would that be all right?
Yes. So I do have I have 3 screens. They're curved screens, and it's basically to kind of give you the best peripheral vision. You know, it covers almost 180 degrees of where I'm sitting in the seat here.
You've got your telemetry as well.
These are the main things that we look at as race drivers. So we come in after our qualifying or after practice, and when you see us going through data, this is pretty much what we're looking at. So we see the throttle, the brake in these couple lines here. Then we have the main speed trace, which is the most obvious thing to tell us where we're going quickly or slower compared to our competitors. So obviously, when the line's above, the guy's going quicker. When it's below, then the guy's going slower. So it's very easy to see, say, the blue car here is going quicker and doing a much better job in this section.
Cool. And what about the brake system? Is that a hydraulic brake system that you've got?
So we have to push around 120 kilograms of force into the brake pedal, and so that it has to be very versatile. It has to, be able to withhold a lot of pressure. If anyone does get a chance to basically go and try driving a race car, it's very different to driving a normal, road car, for example. Can't see if I'm in focus now.
We're all good.
Yeah. But yeah, driving a road car is extremely different to driving an actual race car. So she gets a chance to, go and drive one on a racetrack at some point. Then you really get to feel the speed and how you have to control the car and stuff like that, basically.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for showing us around in such detail, Lando. Absolutely wonderful. And thank you for joining us in tonight's program.
My pleasure.
It's great to have you on board as part of the series. I know loads of our competitors are very excited to be competing against you tonight. With all that practice I know you've had over the years now, I expect to see you on the podium and talk to you.
No pressure at all. Exactly. Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
At the end of the race, if not throughout the course of the series. Lando, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem at all. Thank you.